everyone. Thank you for joining. If you are new to my page, my name is Pamela. I am a professional furniture refinisher and artist here in beautiful North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I had an important question come through on one of my TikTok videos. It was a video on stripping and removing chalk paint on a beautiful oak tabletop. And she had a very important question. 444 TVR4, she asked, will this strip off previous paint that was painted over with chalk paint? I want to keep the white and say goodbye to the blue. So my first recommendation would be to always start over, start fresh, because there's nothing like a great project coming to life when you take everything down to the wood and you give it new life. So it's about really falling in love with the process. Sometimes it goes really great, and sometimes you're like, oh my God, bloody hell, why did I torture myself? But that's with, everything in life, right? So if you're in a position like this woman, you're just busy with life, you got work, you got family, you got kids, you have to, run around, do this, do that, and you just don't have the time to go and take everything down, right? So what do? Do you give it a shot? I say that would depend on a few factors. So maybe this could work out for you, maybe not. It all depends on maybe the condition of the furniture, what type of paint was on there, and then the other type of paint that was on there. Sometimes you can tell when you have two paints that have like a chemical reaction, and how they lift. Um, so with that being said, if you are in a pinch, what you want to do is sand, right? But you don't want to go with an 80 grit, because an 80 grit is very coarse. And when you look at your sandpaper on the shelf, you'll see on there's a removal stage, there's a prep stage, and then there's a finish stage, and it goes by the grit number. So the lower the grit number, the coarser it is, and typically in those situations you want to use it for removal, right? But you don't want to strip everything down, so I would say definitely do not start with that. I would start with a prep kind of a prep level sandpaper. So I would start with a 220, maybe a 180, depending. Definitely a 320. If you're new to this, start at a 320 because they're finer, they're softer. And another thing to think about is that the lower number you go in grit, the more chances of it leaving wood marks on your grain. So if you think that down the future you may want to stain it, you really want to be careful with the sanding stages, during this part. But if refinishing to the wood is not one of your goals and you want to paint it, then, that's fine too. So what I have here is a piece that I'm working on. It's one of my trash to treasure pieces. I did a part 1 video on this, stripping the top here. I did go ahead and start layering some colors, and I want to do some more colors. So I thought this would be a good example to give you a demonstration. And let's see if we can bring the blue. I did some blue under here. So let's see if we can bring some blue through without fully bringing it down to the wood. And what I'm going to do is start, I want to go over a couple things. Okay, so I've got 3 sandpapers here. I am going to be using a Surf Prep sander for this. It is on the pricier side. If you're into furniture refinishing, if it's going to be something you're going to do to make a living out of it, it's definitely worth the investment. If this is something that you're doing just here and there, side projects, you can use a cheaper sander. That's absolutely fine too. Just wanted to give you that little tidbit. So what I have here is a 220, but this has been used quite a bit on several projects. So it's a little bit worn down and it feels more like a 320. I'm going to start with this. And then I have these two, they're foams, and they help me get into the grooves. So if you have any detailing work here or on your piece of furniture, surf prep, the foam, it's the way to go. As you can see, it's squishy, so it makes it easy to contour in between all those beautiful details. So this one here is a 4 to 600. So this is more on the finishing. So when you go ahead and do this, it should leave a very nice, silky, smooth finish. And this one is a 320. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to test these. And we're going to see if we're able to lift the first layer of paint to show the second layer without bringing it down to the wood. About this for a quick second. So as you can see, we sanded the areas. I just want to make one correction. In the introduction, I said we'll take it down to the gorgeous blue that's under there. It's actually the blue that I want to go on top of this, and maybe an orange too, but what I had under here was a cream. So that's what you see coming through is the cream, not the blue. So you can take it down. You may have to do some touch-up paint afterwards, but you can get it through here. It all depends on how polished you want your piece to be. If you want it to be really polished, and when I say polished, I mean as a very clean finish, no distressing, no weathering, no antiquing, nothing like that. If you are wanting to do a more antique or weathered and distressed look, this will definitely work for you. So I'd say, to answer your question, totally depends on your goals. And I hope this video helped.